All right, so I wanted to hop on here to talk to you guys about opportunity. So for those who have not signed up for my full-time CEO coaching program, New York is in the house. Queen Kiki, how you doing? Savannah is in the house. I gotta get out to Savannah, Detroit. So for those who are not signed up for my full-time CEO program, every other Monday I'm on there. I'm bringing a special guest and we're talking about things to help you to be a better CEO. Now, you don't have to be a CEO or own a business to be enrolled or involved. You know, we work helping people from startup to people who are advanced in their business journey. The biggest thing is really just teaching you the basic principles of running a business. Like, one of the things that I often share with people is that, hey, how you doing, sis? How you doing? We got to connect soon. We definitely got to connect soon. Is that, you know, when people are looking to start a business, one of the biggest mistakes they make is they start a business without even having a product. And that's okay. But then you could slow down your growth because now you're finding yourself scrambling. And a lot of times people are starting businesses, and this is just from data that I've researched, because they are looking to just amass money. You know, they're looking at the lifestyle of entrepreneurship. And I often tell people, don't let what they think wealth is confuse them with rich is. Let me say that again. Don't confuse what wealth is with rich is. See, wealth is what people do. Wealth is what you own. Wealth is what people do. Rich is what you do. Wealth is what you own. So if you have a business and maybe you're a solo entrepreneur, you're making money, you may be doing well, that's creating riches. But if you have no ownership, you don't own assets, you don't have a valuation of your business, then you're not really creating wealth. You're on your way. And that's what this full-time CEO is all about, is encompassing and teaching you how to have ownership. So now, in speaking of ownership, I wanted to talk to you guys about what's taking place with the rent eviction moratorium. They said by the end of the year, over 750,000 families could be evicted. Over 750,000 families could be evicted by the end of the year. I personally think it's actually going to be higher than that. Curtis, what's going on, family? And there's over 20 million homes in either pre-foreclosure or foreclosure. Over 20 million homes in pre-foreclosure or foreclosure. What does that mean? That spells opportunity. Now, unfortunately, it's off the backs of people who were not able to position themselves properly, or, you know, lost their job, or medically, whatever the case may have been. But everything that I want to talk to you guys about tonight is about being in position. Because here's the thing that I've learned. Everything that we go through is not always about getting to the next level. A lot of times it's about preparation. A lot of the times it's about preparation. So think about it. When you are going through credit repair, it's not necessarily because you want to be able to purchase that home. It's for preparation. So for those who may have lost their job, guess what? You may have had to survive off of your credit, and you were able to get through those rough patches. So it was about the preparation for the experience or the trauma or the quote unquote failure. That's how I want you to start looking at preparation. So for those who took advantage and got capital, took advantage and went through, whether it took you 12 months or 24 months to get your credit in position, you went through that preparation to be prepared. So now when this housing market bubble bursts, you're in position. That's how we have to start looking at everything. Everything we do is all for preparation. So now, with that being said, I posted a video on my Instagram yesterday, and I want somebody to interact. I want to interact with somebody today. Okay. So I posed a question. Why did you start your business? What is your end goal and what is your exit? Why did you start your business? What is your end goal and what's your exit? A lot of people say, I want financial freedom. Now, financial freedom is relative. And here's why. You can have financial freedom working a 9 to 5. You just live below your means, because there's people who work 9 to 5s who have no debt. Whether they believe in home ownership or they paid their home off, they have money in a retirement account. They're empty nesters. They have no debt. So financial freedom is subjective. So what is the end goal? What is the plan towards financial freedom? What does financial freedom look like for you? Someone said generational wealth for my kids. What does that look like? Do you have a game plan in place? Generational wealth is subjective as well. To some people, having generational wealth is, do you even have a life insurance? If you don't have a life insurance policy, we can't say we're trying to create generational wealth, because one of the ways to create generational wealth is through life insurance. So if we don't have life insurance to set our family up, if something was to happen to us, we cannot say we want generational wealth. We can't for our children, because that's one of the barometers of creating generational wealth. That's what other cultures have been doing for years. One of the top 2 ways that wealth is passed down from generation to generation is through real estate and life insurance. So we can't say generational wealth if we don't believe in life insurance. And then I'm talking about real estate. We have an opportunity to put ourselves in position to be able to own real estate by creating wealth, because wealth is what we own. We have an opportunity from all of the preparation we've been doing, from getting our credit in place, setting up our companies, getting access to capital. So when the opportunity presents itself, we can now go and purchase real estate. Pennies on the dollar. Because here's the thing. In business, there's something called supply and demand. The demand of rentals are going to skyrocket, because you're going to have a bunch of people with foreclosures. You're going to have a bunch of people with evictions. And then typically the rent prices increase. The rent prices increase. So I would like to know, why did you start your business? Somebody raised their hand who would love to go live with me today. Somebody raised their hand. Who would like to go live with me today? What is your end goal? Are you really about that life when it says generational wealth? They increase because of the demand for rentals. So if you have a bunch of people who cannot buy because they have foreclosures, and there's a limited amount of places that you can rent out, the price goes up. Just like the car industry. The car industry. What took place, there was a shortage of vehicles. So now the price of vehicles had increased. All of my vehicles increased minimum 10 to 15,000 above the market value. If you were in the market for a Range Rover, it was about $50,000 above ask because of the demand for vehicles. So the demand increases, the price increases. It's called supply and demand. Yep, that's why all these office building people are vacating, are now becoming apartments. Yeah, they're converting buildings into apartment buildings right now. For those who are familiar with Las Vegas, Pahrump, which is about an hour and a half from Las Vegas, depending where you live in the city, and people are now migrating out there. Pahrump just got incorporated to be an official town, and as soon as someone purchased the lot and they break ground, the property is being sold. They're building their very first apartment complex in Pahrump right now. Supply and demand. See, this is what I don't want to happen. Now, I see you, small biz group. See, a lot of us, we like to buy high and try to sell for higher. That's because we didn't do what we had to do to get prepared so we can buy low and sell high. See, by the time we buy high and try to sell for higher, we've been washed out the game. So now we don't even qualify to participate. We've been priced out. We've been boxed out. Why did you start your business? What is your end goal? And what is your exit strategy? Do you even know what your exit strategy is? Some people don't. Some people don't know what an exit strategy is. See, the thing I'm always sharing with people is that in business, when you're the CEO, your goal is to be able to fire yourself. You want to be able to fire yourself. You shouldn't have to continue to work on, you shouldn't have to continue to work in your business as a CEO forever. Because if so, then you're not really a CEO. But if we're not learning how to be a CEO, we're not learning how to run businesses. We just know how to operate within the industry that we're good at. How will we ever get to the point where we can even create an exit strategy? When I say an exit strategy, what is the end goal for the business? I'll share what my exit strategy. My exit strategy is to be able to sell my company for a 8-figure payout. How do I do that? I increase my valuation of my business. How do I increase my valuation? There's several things: through affiliates, partnerships, through acquisitions. I have about 7 businesses that I own that I don't even talk about. Between my real estate portfolio, my rental car fleet, those are all considered assets. That's how you create an exit, by increasing your valuation of your business. But nobody is teaching us this. I don't want to work forever. and that's how we have to start thinking. I don't want to work forever. You know? See, a lot of people aren't. Here's the thing, and I'm still looking for somebody who wants to hop on. I see Lisa. Here's the thing. Can you take a week off without your business being impacted? Can you take a week off and your company still makes money? Can you take 2 weeks off and your business still makes money? Can you take a month off and your business still make money? If you answered no to any of those, then you're not working on an exit strategy. You're not working on an exit strategy. Your staff will still call you for help. Well, then that means you got to train your staff better. How are you building your organization? What does your org chart look like? What does your org chart look like? These are the different things that we're teaching people. Small biz group, I've tried to add you. It keeps saying I can't add you. End goal is to build an empire. What does building an empire look like, Brandon? Again, I'm pushing you guys because I want you guys to start thinking bigger. Fully automated system. I can do 2 weeks, but no more. But yes, I'm scaling. Thank you for sharing that. I don't have a business yet. That's fine, Lisa. You're in the right place to learn where to at least start. Working towards that goal now. See, I'm getting you guys to think outside of just starting an LLC. Because essentially, a lot of times when you become an entrepreneur, you bought a job. That's ultimately what ends up happening. And most people who own businesses usually are making less than they would be making if they had a 9-to-5. But that's because we're not learning about business. I need funding to start building a team. I appreciate that, Queen. Have you looked into our funding program? That's going to be my next question. Have you looked into our funding program? See, I'm going to help a lot of us eliminate excuses and help us start thinking bigger and broader. How you doing, Queen?
Hey, Coach.
How are you?
I'm hanging in there.
All right. Thank you for being a brave soul
You know me, Coach.
and hopping on.
I was laughing when you were talking about generational wealth because, in New York, in the hood, generational wealth is your mother leaving you her project apartment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't teach us that stuff. So
They
it's
don't.
it's
They don't teach us this. And this is why I said, if we don't have life insurance, we can't say we want to leave generational wealth. Because if something happened, your family gets nothing. If you don't have a will, you can't say you're about generational wealth. Because if you have a business that's generating revenue and you were to pass today, that all of that goes to the shits.
Yep.
Nobody gets it.
Yep.
Nobody. The state comes in and divvies it up and probably eventually will disband the company. Brandon says something important, 3 lifetimes. And that's actually going into what I was about to say. It takes an average of 3 generations for our community to actually see generational wealth. And that's for people who actually are owning a home and leaving that for our children's children. But then usually what ends up happening, the second and third generation ends up selling it.
I take it a step further. I mentor as I'm driving, and I keep going back to what's the movie with James L. Jones when he's in the closet holding the lamp? Like, they teach us to not have a family unit, to not have anything to leave to our children. So it's up to us to be different. My exit strategy is, which I'm starting to learn how to do because I don't know how to delegate, is hiring my family and really having them run my business. This past month, I finally hired my brother-in-law, and I'm just letting him do him, and it's benefiting because now my sons are starting to take more of an interest in wanting to drive and do all that stuff. But like, that's my exit strategy. My exit strategy is to build something so that I can employ my family. So I sit back and let them do what they need to do.
Okay, I'm gonna stretch you a little bit here.
Okay.
Okay, that should be a goal, not an exit. The exit should be your entire family is set financially. So again, here's what I want us to start thinking. I want us to start thinking that our exit strategy should be to eventually sell our companies. Okay. That should be our exit. Why is that? Because that's where the real wealth is generated. Who says you can't build a company up to sell for 10 million? See, when you sell a company, it doesn't mean you have to make 10 million to sell it at that. They're looking at the valuation of what the business is worth. Okay. So the exact same way of how net worth works. So they said Elon Musk has no cash. All his money is tied up in assets that pay him. So his net worth is worth billions. That doesn't mean he has billions in cash. Jay-Z worth, let's just say, $1 billion. That doesn't mean he has $1 billion in the bank. That's his net worth between his art paintings, his businesses, his deals. If he was to liquidate everything, that is what he's worth. That's how we start looking at our businesses. If we were to sell our business, that is what it is worth, not necessarily how much it made. So if you built up your valuation and let's say your business is doing 2 million, you may have a 3x multiplier. Now that business is worth 6 million, but you made 2, but the valuation of the company is 6. So now your exit strategy should be, Kiki, how do I build up my valuation to eventually one day sell it? Because people buy businesses because they like to purchase cash flow. No different than how real estate works. We buy real estate because we want to purchase cash flow. People buy businesses because they want to purchase cash flow. So I want us to think bigger when it comes to exit strategy. Our goal should be eventually to sell your business. That doesn't mean you still won't get paid from it. You could sit on a board and get an advisory share of 20%, even after the exit. But I'm trying to get us to think bigger.
So, you know what's like, people always look at it like if someone sells their business and then does just that, like, oh, they needed the money, that's why they sold it, instead of thinking about it the other way around, like that was the whole goal in selling it and building it up in the first place.
Well, I mean, if somebody's gonna give you 10 million, why wouldn't you take it?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it's
But
not about you need the
right.
money. I mean, if you obviously if somebody buys your business at 10 million, you're probably making a couple million anyway. Odds are. So it's not about whether you need it or not. That's what your end goal or exit strategy is. Excuse me. Because an end goal and exit strategy are two different things.
Is there a formula to figure out like what the evaluation is of your business?
Yeah, there's several ways. They can look at the industry you're in, your the amount of the revenue, and then that you also got to look at what your net revenue is. So your net revenue, definitely you want to be at a minimum of 20% of whatever your gross is. Where you have a lot of people, yeah, they may make 100,000, but their net revenue is 7%. You know, because their expenses are out of control. They don't know how to run a business. I mean, it could be a multitude of things, but yeah, there's several ways to calculate and building out what your valuation of your company is. Some of it is by owning other businesses. That's
I
something we even talk about as a culture.
was about to say this all ties back to our call from the other day, because what's been on my mind is like the whole branding thing, and how you spoke about not pigeonholing yourself into one, let's say, industry. So that got me kind of thinking too, even though, you know, I have the other business, of how can I expand this so that I'm not stuck in one lane or one industry, so that when I do go to sell, it's really, really worth more than like one thing.
Absolutely. And then here's the other thing. Just because you sell your business doesn't mean you still don't have any ownership in it. You know, sometimes, and here's the thing, and I know this happens a lot, especially with Black people. We always feel we got to be tied to our business because it's our baby, which is why we never even think about selling. Look, if I sell my business for 50 million, I can go buy another company that's going to generate me enough cash flow to where, you know what I'm saying? And so we have to start thinking bigger. First of all, we have to stop thinking the barometer is six figures. We should be wanting to make that a month. Then we also have to stop thinking the barometer is just seven figures. Who said we can't go and make eight figures? I don't see nobody talking about, I want an eight-figure business. We got to start thinking bigger. And so when it comes to having that exit strategy, that's why I'm pushing you guys to think bigger, of saying, hey, I want one of my exit strategies is to sell my business. Period. Period. But a lot of people can't fathom it because guess what? Statistically, the average person has never had $1,000 cash in their hand.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't fathom making 10 million or getting a $50 million exit if we don't even know how it feels to have $1,000 cash. Here's a statistic that I just read. The average business, the average Black-owned business, does about $40,000 to $50,000 in revenue. The average white-owned business does 11 times that amount, which means they're doing about $500,000 in revenue. Why is it such a huge disconnect? I could tell you one, because they go and learn about business. We just want to be hustlers and think because we're popular, people gonna buy from us. It's a difference between being popular and having influence. That's why you have a lot of influencers who don't make any money. They're popular,
And
but they don't have influence when it comes to people being able to purchase their products or services.
the other thing I think is that, and I learned that this weekend, that I'm too attached. My dad told me years ago, like, never get attached to a car. I feel like I'm too attached to my business to where, like, if I'm this goes back to the whole thing with like JP, with us learning how to, like, hire people and do things like that. Like, if I'm gonna delegate, then I have to delegate. Like, I can't delegate and then say, okay, well, let me do it. No, delegate and then, step back and let somebody stop being so attached. I'm
Okay.
learning that.
That's a great point. I'm going to tell you another thing too. Reason we scared to delegate because we're not good teachers. If
Right.
we don't know how to, if we're not confident with hiring somebody and then letting them go and run the play, we're not great teachers.
You're right.
And if we're
That
not
is
great
true.
teachers, we're not feeling confident who we put in place, then why hire them? And so then that's when we become the hamster on the wheel where we're doing everything. We're doing our own marketing. We're sending our own email blasts. We're cooking. We're the painter. We're the janitor. We're the accountant. We're the attorney. We're the talent. Like we're doing everything. And then we look up and like, damn, I ain't even make no money this year because we're trying to do everything. Well, we can't delegate because we're not great teachers. Why aren't we great teachers? Because we haven't even learned or we haven't been taught how to go teach. We haven't been taught how to run a business. So how can I teach somebody and delegate them to be my CFO when I know nothing about business? How can I teach somebody to go hire how can I go find a marketing agency to help me scale and grow my business with my ads if I don't even know the questions to ask? Posting a flyer on Instagram is not marketing. You know what I'm saying? Building a website is not marketing. But this is what we think because a lot of times we don't want to invest in those things to do so. Like, here's the power of credit and how to help you grow those things. Go and hire people smarter than you. So yeah, I don't want to use my brain capacity to learn how to build a funnel. I'd rather go hire somebody who is 1,000 times smarter than me and pay them. Now, let's say it costs you, and once you're in position, let's say it costs you $100,000 a year to hire somebody to build funnels and do your ads. Okay, this is why we leverage credit. We need to learn how to use credit to grow our companies. So now, $100,000, that's $8,300 a month that you're paying that person. Now, obviously, you're gonna put some things in place to make them you're going to position it to where you have to see some type of return. That doesn't mean you keep them on forever just because you like them. No, they still have to bring value to the company. Now, $8,300 a month to pay that person to build your ads and funnels and handle your marketing and help you to generate a 2.5x return minimum for every dollar spent. That $8,300 may cost you, let's just say, $900 a month. All you have to do is be able to service $900 a month, and you have a CFO who can run your company to where now you can put your focus on other income producing opportunities within your organization. But meanwhile, we don't want to invest a couple $100 to go hire a VA to answer our emails. We want to be able to answer all our emails just to make it look like we're busy. So again, so these should be some of our business goals. Okay, I want to be able to have capital so I can hire a marketing person. I want to be able to have somebody. I want to be able to hire a VA. I want to be able to hire this person. I need a copywriter. I need this. I need that. That's how you delegate. You go find people smarter than you. But then also at the same time, you have to know how to run a business. You have to know how to run an organization. You got to know how to deal with people. You have to know how to be able to talk to people. That's why I tell people, and for those who ever came to one of my private masterminds, the secret sauce to growing is you. It ain't about having some special trick or any of that. If you're not right, your business isn't going to be right because people have to buy into you. It's one of the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership, the law of the buy-in.
I
If they're
was just thinking
buying
about
into
that today when we
yeah,
had our one-on-one sit down. That was one of the most valuable piece of information you always gave that you ever gave me was be myself.
you
That
have
was
to.
the most. That was the most. I kept saying, "Well, I'm a little bit extra. I don't know how people gonna take that." And you was like, "No, just be yourself. If that's what you feel like doing today, then that's what you feel like doing today." Like They gonna love it. They gonna love it. They gonna rock with you. They gonna rock with you.
You have to, because people buying into you. So you have to be right. So when I talk about personal development or self-care is bigger than going to get a massage. Self-care means you're really working on self. What books are you reading? Are you learning about business? Are you learning about how to grow an organization? Are you learning about how to deal with people? When people ask me what book changed my life, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Why is that? Because it teaches you on how to deal with people. You can't grow an organization if you don't know how to deal with people, because people got to like you. Clients got to like you. Your vendors have to like you. Your CFO have to like you. Your virtual assistants have to like you. And so it all starts with you. But
our last couple of calls, like I really feel like I'm in, like I didn't even learn this stuff being like an accounting major in school. Like I really feel like I'm in school. Like I really feel like I'm learning and I'm growing. Like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And sometimes we get so sidetracked by everything that's going on that like I'm that whole debt schedule really got me back to like focus, because I'm like, that showed me that I do have the money to hire a VA. I can hire this person. I don't, like you just said, I don't have to sit there and send out all the thank yous after each trip. I don't have to send out all the email blasts. I do have that. I do have that to be able to do that. So it kind of like brought me kind of back on focus.
No, absolutely. But see, here's the thing too. That's the power of mentorship. See, a lot of people, here's the thing, and I actually talked about this on my call today. The best way to make more money is by increasing your value in the marketplace. I'm going to say that again. The best way, the quickest way to make more money is increasing your value in the marketplace. How do you increase your value in the marketplace? You get new information. Well, guess what? That information may cost you. That's the part we really, if I'm keeping it 100, that's the part we really don't want to do. Mm-hmm. We want to go and try to piecemeal information on YouTube, going in people's DMs, asking to pick their brains, and going to free workshops. That's how we get our information, a lot of people. Look, you may have to spend a bag. I paid 6 figures for a coach for 60 days. It increases my value, increases my client's value, because now I'm giving them new information and new game. I have clients who saying, Will, the information I'm learning from you, people are booking consultations with me to learn what I'm learning for you.
That's right.
They just increase their value in the marketplace.
That's right.
Because they had the wherewithal, they had the vision to go and invest in themselves. Jimmy said, I go to We Management University.
Hey, that's right, Jimmy. That's right.
Yeah, Jimmy just told me today, he said, Will, based off of what I've learned from you, I just partnered with an accountant to where now everybody I sent to him, he give me 10% because of some strategy he learned in one of the coaching calls, and the power of having a good tax strategist. Mm-hmm. Now, as I often say, the easiest dollar to make is the dollar you don't have to work for. So now Jimmy just increased his valuation because he's now making money without him having to do anything, just by creating an affiliate partnership with somebody else.
That's right.
And people now trust him because he's increased his valuation, but Jimmy has invested a lot of money to be able to do so. And he got the receipts to show the results. It's several things that he's done that's increased his business.
That's the other thing. People don't want to invest. They don't want to invest in something that they feel like they can't see. But this is the most valuable thing. It's knowledge.
That's true. That's true. But that's because they can't touch it. They can't touch it.
They don't see the value in it, which I don't get.
Well, here's one thing I've always learned. I don't sign up for that class trying to figure out why people don't do something. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. I've had people send me a DM and say, hey, tell me what you're doing. Convince me why I should do business with you. type back and say, good luck in life. You know what I'm saying?
There you
Like,
go.
I'm not in the business of convincing anybody anything. Like clearly you need the information. That's really a ploy of you saying, hey, please help me. How can you help me? Like,
Right. I'm lost and I'm the one that need help.
that's really what that is. Like, I often tell people, an objection is really just a question that hasn't been answered. So when a person has an objection, it's not that, it's just that they probably didn't get their question answered, or they're not confident in their ability to be able to execute on what you're showing them. So when I tell people, hey, go do X, Y, and Z, this is how you get to the next level, and they still questioning it, that just means that they don't have confidence in their ability. That has nothing to do with me. Because I'll often say, we have receipts. We've seen what people can do. We've seen the result. We've seen the people buy the houses. We've seen the money that they've been able to generate in their business. We've seen the lifestyle change. So when you have to question and trying to ask all these backdoor questions and do we really work and this, that, and the third, that just means you don't have enough belief in your capability.
The
And that's
other the other thing goes back when you
say that again.
the other thing goes back to when we sat down and you went through like everything that I do, and you were like, well, how long does it take you to do this? Well, how long does it take you to do it? And we assigned like an actual value to every step into my business. That kind of tied into everything like we doing on that the chart that JP put up in like the organizational chart or whatever to like find out like, and that also helped me to figure out if I am going to hire somebody, who do I need to hire first? What is the person that will bring the most value to me right now? What am I spending the most of my time on? And it all kind of just like tied into each other, and it just made sense. And nobody's teaching us none of this but you.
I mean, it's people probably out there teaching it. We just don't have access to it. Because I'll be brutally honest. For what I teach people, people are charging hundreds of thousands of dollars for this information.
Maybe that's why we're not seeing it. We just seeing the people that's posting a bunch of cars saying, buy this for $2 and you're going to make $1 million. Because that's all I see.
Right. No, and that's real talk. Like, and I think because information is so readily now, we've actually kind of bastardized what value looks like. Meaning, I can post a video or a picture of a car and really not even have a business, and more people will call me versus me giving out some game on how to go and grow your company. But people are more enamored with the car. Well, I just showed you game on how to get your business to pay for the car. Like I did a post the other day where, again, because it wasn't as sexy as me posting a car, it went over some people's heads. Where I was like, hey, I just bought another property that is going to pay and fund me to be able to buy another vehicle. So I use assets to fund my lifestyle. I don't use my business revenue to fund my lifestyle, because every dollar you take out of your business, it decreases your valuation. So when I see people go buy cars as soon as they have their first big paycheck, unless you're leveraging that car to make you money on Toro, which I've been teaching people how to do that for 4 years before everybody else just threw a Toro course out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Unless that car is helping you make money.
It's in my portal right now. I can click on it at any time I want to.
I'm leveraging an asset to help me buy and fund my lifestyle. So when I want to buy a watch, guess what? I'm going to let an asset buy it. If I want to go get a car, the asset is going to pay for that. I don't take money I don't take money out of my company to go and fund my lifestyle. I use assets to do so. But that goes back to where I said, rich is what you do, wealth is what you own. What do we own? If we're talking about generational wealth, what are we attempting to own? If we're talking about generational wealth and we're not trying to acquire the two things that are used to create generational wealth, and that's real estate and life insurance, we can't say we're trying to create generational wealth. We're just saying it because it sounds cute. Period. We're pump faking with our life. We're pump faking with our legacy. Excuse me. We're playing the crate challenge with our legacy.
Right.
We're walking through life wobbling on these crates. And
And the other
eventually
thing
it's going to fall.
that's stopping us from owning real estate is writing off a bunch of stuff, because this is the only thing that stopped me from purchasing my first home was my DTI, because listening to somebody else when I was, before I even had found you. So I'm still like, because it's like a year or two of taxes. So I'm still caught up in that bubble where it was like, okay, write off all of this stuff, and now you want to go try to buy a house, and now you can't buy a house because you done wrote off everything. So, but I'm learning that.
Right. Well, because sometimes people make things look attractive on paper. It's good to say, hey, I can help you get a large refund. And as I often tell people, if your goal is to get a tax refund, you're not making enough money. If your goal is to get a refund at the end of the tax year, as a business owner, you're not making enough money. Your goals are too low. What is your exit strategy? Why did you even
That's
start?
because that's what we taught. We taught that at the end of the year, get a big tax return. When I did finally learn this, and I was like, oh, okay, so my goal this year will be to wind up owing the IRS. Everybody thought I was crazy.
That's because they're not on your journey. So here's the thing that I've learned about people. One of the many things. We have to be careful being around people who aren't on the path or journey or even just on the same frequency mentally as us, because see, our entire life is based upon our reference points. So this is where that whole, if you hang around 5 broke people, you're going to eventually be the 6th. That's a reference point, because all you know is poverty. Well, poverty is a learned behavior. And a lot of us, that's the only reference point we have in life is poverty. So it's impossible for us to believe that we could sell our company for 8 figures, because all we've been taught is poverty. We don't believe we can own millions of dollars in real estate. We don't even believe we can make $10,000 a month, half of us. We say it because it sounds cute. I'll take this even further, Kiki. Most people don't even believe they can lead a 9 to 5. People say, well, what about health insurance? You go and buy it. It's actually better when you buy it yourself anyway. Like being honest. And so we have to set our goals higher, but it's hard for us to do so because we only have reference points of being taught poverty behavior, whether it's from our family members. Sometimes that's our parents. No knock to them, but they were passed down a poverty mentality. Whether it's our friends, like I often tell people, the reason I didn't watch television for years, one, I couldn't afford it, but for two, when you start watching things that corrupts your subconscious, those are references. So when we're watching reality TV, quote unquote, and it's giving us reference points of what we think life should look like, this is why we get so depressed, because we think that life is really a movie. We think these people really living like this. We think these people are really flying around private every single where, and they doing this, then doing that, and the third, because those are the only reference points that we have, because we haven't done anything to get around people who are actually saying, look, let me show you the real way on how to create wealth. This shit is hard, and it may take you 25 years of your life, not 3 or 3 months or 3 weeks, as some people may think it does, because of the reference points that they've injected into their subconscious through music, through television.
Yes, through music too, definitely.
All of this. And so reference points is extremely vital. And we have to break that cycle of a poor or a poverty mentality, which is a learned behavior. Why is it that most of Black people don't like credit? Because it was taught to us, the reference points from our parents. Why did our parents didn't like credit? Because their parents told them not to use credit. Well, guess what? It's put us at a disadvantage, because now we don't understand the power of credit, and what structured credit is for me to be able to use credit to be able to go out there and purchase assets. So if I can borrow money at 5%, that's going to make me 12%. I'm now making 7%. But we don't get that because all we think about is debt that our mama told us was bad because of reference points.
That goes back to the whole, my dad is 91. He think you supposed to stick the money in the mattress.
All right.
My husband, the same thing. He didn't understand the concept. So one day we were talking and I broke it down to him about when you gave us the example of like purchasing a vehicle using a credit card because the interest rate would be lower as opposed to using cash or whatever. It took him a while to catch on to what I was saying. Then like a couple of days later, he said, "Oh, now I get it." Like I said, yeah, it's the difference. And you know, in this economy, trying to also learn like your cash is your reserve. You don't spend your cash, you know. And my father think like he's like, what? Like, you know, so I get it. Like that's what we were taught. So it's hard to break those, you know, those chains.
Again, they're reference points. You know what I'm saying? Like here's another concept. Most wealthy people don't keep a lot of money in the bank. They want their money working for them. Now that money could come in the form of credit. But again, because we've been so skewed about how we look at credit, how we look at money, like there's a fundamental philosophy in business. If you spend money the right way, you will make money. It really is that simple. But then we get into business and we don't want to spend no money. So then guess what? We get stuck in financial purgatory. Like, why is it that we don't believe in marketing? When statistically, every dollar you put into marketing, you get a 2.5x return. Now, your messaging and branding has to be good, but going back to what I said at the top of this call, that all falls on who? On you. You have to be a better person to be able to even put the good information out. You have to increase your value in the marketplace by investing in new information. A lot of us go and learn something from 15 years ago, and we go out here thinking we some expert, and next thing you know, you get cracked and like, man, ain't nobody listening to me because you're spewing stuff that don't even make sense. Go invest in new information. Yeah, it may cost you a couple dollars.
And like you said, surround yourself by it.
You know,
we surround ourselves by people that even when you start to think like, oh, I'm gonna do this or I'm gonna do that, you surrounding yourself by people like you can't do that just because that they don't have the courage to do it themselves. I don't watch TV. My circle of people, because I spend so much time on the road, is so small that like people think that like it's something, not that I care, but I've just made it that way because I'm on a quest. Like I just feel that way. Like I'm on a quest. Like I have no choice. I have no choice but to do this. No choice at all.
Yeah, because here's the thing. When it's all said and done, who's gonna say Kiki like Kiki? Nobody. So that's why it's easy for me to turn down the chatter. Because usually the people that's complaining and chattering and all of that, they ain't even in your category. It's usually people who can't see themselves. It's almost like the bully syndrome. Usually a bully has very low self-confidence. They like all of the things that they need to work on within self. That's the same way how people, when they're saying, oh, I don't know if that'll work or this or that, that just means they can't ever see themselves in that light. That's usually how that works. And so it's really just a matter of, again, going back to preparation and putting ourselves in position. So when those opportunities present themselves, we understand exit strategies. We understand building our businesses. We understand why we even started the business. I tell people, if you started your business to make money, you in for a rude awakening. It's like, because if your whole focus and purpose is to chase a check, everything you do is going to be operating out of desperation. And people can smell that. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying you won't make any money, but it'll be very short lived. You know, and so I mean, it's so much. And again, and I appreciate you just for always being, as I
Well, I
always say,
appreciate you, Coach.
a supporter from day zero. Because, like, yeah, nobody is teaching us this, and nobody's getting us to think in this capacity. Everybody's saying, go build a course, buy my program, and I'll see you at the top. But nobody's teaching us the in between. That's why I wrote the book, the shit they don't tell you, because 99% of the stuff I talk about, nobody's teaching us this. Nobody's teaching us to aspire to have an 8-figure business. Nobody's teaching us to aspire to have an exit strategy. To think that
Nobody's teaching us to stop trading time for dollars.
nobody's teaching that either.
That's one of the main things you told me. Like, there's days that you're not gonna make money in your business, but you still push. You still, that day you may not. The next day you might make it 17 times over. Like, they don't teach us that.
Yeah. Yeah. But you can't. You already know what you're doing, Queen. I appreciate you, and just keep plugging in. I see the
Thanks, Coach.
keep plugging in.
Thank you, Coach.
Absolutely appreciate you. So, family, yeah. So I want us to start thinking bigger. Let's think. I want everybody's assignment. What is your exit strategy? Put together that plan. What do you want your company valuation to be? How can you grow your valuation? What affiliates and partnerships can you create? What capital opportunities can you create? These are the things you should be working on. But as a CEO, if you bog down sending emails, hiring and firing, now, of course, in the beginning stages, you're going to start in those roles. But again, eventually you want to be in a position to where you fire yourself. So now you are just a visionary. I listened to an interview with Floyd, and Floyd said, I hire people smarter than me. That's really the trick. But see, we have egos. We feel we always got to be the man or the one man. So we don't want to hire people who are smarter than us. I want my marketing guy to be smarter than me. Like, that's not my forte. That's not my lane. Now, I know the basics, and I probably could do 70% of that stuff, but I don't want to do it. I'd rather spend my time doing lives. I'd rather spend my time going to purchase other companies. I mean, I bought a business last month because I had the ability to be able to do so because I freed up my time by investing in delegation. Because delegation will cost you some investment of your money and your time. But once you get to that point, are you even a good enough leader to people for them to buy into your vision? Again, the law of the buy-in. This is why a lot of organizations crumble, because of the lack of leadership. So what I've decided to do, because I really want to help you guys, but of course I'm one person. And, this, for those who were on here where I talked about the 4 exchanges, it has to be at minimum an equal exchange. But I already know I always going to try to give you an abundance in exchange versus what you may have actually brought to the table. I'm always I'm always focused on delivering an abundance in exchange. And my focus is always results. And speaking of results, it baffles me when people who go through credit repair, and I hear this even from other people in the credit repair industry, a person can have 25 negative items, $60,000 worth of debt, invest $1,000 in credit repair, which isn't a lot compared to what you owe. 80% of the debt will come off. That's an abundance of results. Because guess what? You can go and pay and settle all the debt and your credit is still crappy. So we have to start understanding what results actually look like. And when you have a mindset of always thinking that, oh, well, y'all scammed me because all my negative stuff didn't come off. No, you scammed the banks. That's the scam. You actually were delivered an abundance of results because you got $40,000 of the $60,000 off and you only invested $1,000. If you would have did a settlement offer, you would have had to pay 60 to 80 cents on the dollar. And the stuff is still going to sit on your credit. So we have to start understanding how exchange works and what results actually look like. Because when we have that mindset in that part of our world, it usually translates to every other area of your life. Personal life, business life, friendships. You don't understand exchange. You don't understand results. And then that's when entitlement sets in. And as we often know, entitlement is a cancer that kills all relationships, period. You know, it reminds me of a teacher who wrote 9 problems on the board and got to the last one and actually, on purpose, wrote the wrong answer on the board. And the whole class laughed. And the teacher was like, see, that's the problem with people in life. I can do 8 things right and make 1 mistake, and you guys ridicule me. You call me this, you call me that, not knowing you got 8. You know, I've delivered 8 actions that were all perfect, they were all correct, et cetera, et cetera. That's the exact same way how exchange works in business. But then we think we can go out there and produce a lackluster result and think we're supposed to get an abundance in return. No, and that's why I often say everything starts with you working on you. So what I want to do, I've actually decided to bring my one-on-one consultations back. People asking me about one-on-one coaching, and now that tour is over, I'm actually going to eventually bring my one-on-one coaching back. But right now, I'm bringing back my one-on-one strategy calls. You know, I have people on here just from the strategy call have went out and executed and got results, an abundance of results more than what they invested for those calls. And I've actually discounted my strategy calls significantly. So I need you guys to go to my website right now, book a free discovery call to speak with my team. My team is probably even still in the office right now. We had a late night tonight, and learn about booking a strategy call with myself. And I promise you, I will deliver and focus on results. My goal isn't to give you theory. I'm going to give you an exact plan of execution of what you need to do to get to that next level. Now, not even saying that just that one strategy call is going to make you millions, but at least it's going to put you in alignment for preparation of helping you get to that next step that eventually you will need to get to that next level to start generating more revenue. Sometimes people have had to book a strategy call just to even figure out the course that they're trying to take within their path. And that's all they needed to help them unlock whatever it is that they were stuck at in order for them to be on the path of getting to that next level on their particular journey. And so go right now, wemanagementservices.com, fill out for a free discovery call from my team. Let them know, hey, I want to book a strategy call. I have 30 minutes. I have 1 hour. And again, I'm putting my coaching program. I'm actually restructuring my coaching for those who are serious about being a one-on-one coaching client. And so again, go to wemanagementservices.com. You can see the link pinned. You can go to my bio in my profile on Instagram, book a free discovery call. And again, my one-on-one strategy calls have been discounted significantly. So this is my give back. And again, my way of always attempting to deliver in a level of abundance, which I'm going to just go out on a limb. This live was a level of abundance because, again, I could easily charge $10,000 and made a mastermind out of what I just delivered to you guys. You guys want to know why? I know because I've been in these masterminds where it's cost where an investment has been 5 figures, and that's the caliber of information you're learning. So I look forward to speaking with you guys. I appreciate you guys, to all of the day zeros who's been rocking out with me. Continue to go out there, uplift each other, continue to go out there and inspire your circle, your friends, and let's help change people reference points and help people break the poverty mindset that they may be trapped in right now. And so sometimes it just takes a little bit of you using your light on your torch to light their torch, because it doesn't take away from your flame. So I appreciate y'all, and I will see y'all at the top. Peace.